The Continuously Computed Release Point (CCRP) mode provides computed automatic release of bombs. This is usually done with the wings level, but it can also be done in a dive or with a nose high end. We have unguided bombs loaded again for this lesson. This is the primary mode used when dropping laser-guided bombs. This mode requires a target point from which to build the bombing solution. I may refer to that point as the system point of interest, or SPI, as we go. Steering information will be presented in the HUD, and you'll fly the aircraft to the release point. The weapons will automatically release at the proper time to hit the target. I have the lesson paused with the target straight ahead, so let's set the aircraft up for the attack. Press spacebar to continue. The setup and displays are the same we've already seen in the CCIP bombing lessons. Press the air-to-ground master mode button on the ICP to configure for air-to-ground attack, then verify the master arm switch is in the arm position. You should have the air-to-ground SMS page displayed on the right MFD. CCIP submode is selected by default, so let's change that to CCRP. The submode may be changed by depressing the adjacent OSB and selecting a new submode from the menu. You can also depress the missile step button on your stick to cycle through the available modes. You could even select Profile 2 that is already set up for CCRP. So select CCRP as the submode and press spacebar to continue. Today we have two different types of unguided cluster bombs loaded, the CBU-87 and the CBU-97. You can cycle between the two by depressing the OSB next to the source code. Try it if you would like, but leave the CBU-87 selected for now. The CBU-87 is sometimes known as the Combined Effects Munition, referring to the type of bomblet that's dispensed over a wide area when the CBU functions. These bomblets have a fragmented case for defeating vehicles and personnel, a forward-firing shape charge for defeating light armor, and also a permanent ring for incendiary effect, setting fires, denying use of material on the fuel cells. The CBU-97 is sometimes known as the sensor fuse loader. Each bomblet includes a number of small warheads or skeets that are scattered by a small rocket motor. Each skeet then scans for a heat signature matching that of a tank's engine compartment using a passive IR sensor. When the correct signature is detected, a projectile fires, penetrating the engine compartment and incapacitating the tank. Press spacebar to continue. We've used all the options on the right side of the MFD in earlier lessons except for a pair release, so depress the OSB next to single until pair is displayed. We have CBU-87s loaded on opposite wing stations, 3 and 7, so this will drop both weapons simultaneously. This is not a bad idea, especially for CBUs, because the probability of a kill increases when more bomblets saturate the target area. One bomb on target could be appropriate, or an entire flight's worth of bombs on a target could be appropriate. It all depends on how sure of a kill you want to be. Set that up and press spacebar to continue. One last piece of information unique to this type of CBU is displayed in the middle of the MFD. The BA, or burst altitude, is the height above ground the bomblets will be dispensed. This is sometimes referred to as the height of function. It's set using a dial on the Fuzzy 39 radar proximity fuse on the nose of the dispenser, and the height displayed on the MFD is set to match. We'll use the default setting of 1500 feet. Now, setting the fusing option to nose-tail uses this height, while setting it to nose bypasses the proximity fuse and dispenses the bomblets very shortly after release. The tail setting should never be used, as that will cause the dispenser to dud. Leave it at nose-tail and press spacebar to continue. Now, with the setup complete, let's look at the HUD symbology. The three key features for this mode are the flight path marker, steering line, and solution queue. We've seen the flight path marker in many lessons already. It's the aircraft-shaped symbol that shows the direction we're traveling. The steering line runs vertically from the top to the bottom of the HUD. It shows the azimuth we need to fly to line up correctly on the target. The key will be to keep the flight path marker lined up with this line as we approach. The solution queue is the small horizontal line at the top of the steering line. This will begin to fall down the steering line about 10 seconds prior to release. The bombs will be released when the solution queue reaches the flight path marker, as long as the weapon's release button on your stick is held. Press spacebar to continue. Now let's perform the attack. I've marked the target at steer point 1 with red smoke, although it will probably be out of sight at release. After all, that's the point of this delivery mode. You should see the target designator box, a small square with a dot in the middle, in your HUD at that location. This replaced the steer point symbol when we entered CCRP submode, and is the point on the ground the bombing solution is computed for. You could, if you wanted, move the location using the cursor enable control on your throttle, but leave it at the steer point for now. We'll look at other ways to update the location in the lessons on targeting pod and radar. Press the spacebar when you're ready to unpause and make the attack. I'll talk you through it as we go. Okay, fly towards the target and keep the flight path marker aligned with the steering line. At the bottom right of the HUD, you'll see the slant range to the target in nautical miles and a countdown to release. We have plenty of time. You don't have to make a long approach like this. You can come in from any angle as long as the flight path marker is aligned with the steering line at release. We're coming up on the release. Depress and hold the weapons release button when the solution queue starts to move down the steering line. The bombs will release when it intersects the flight path marker. Okay, weapons away. You should see the flight path marker flashing to tell you the bombs have dropped. Release the weapons release button. Use the F6 key to follow the bombs through their dispensing and impact if you wish. If you happen to be at low altitude at release, perform a safe escape maneuver to avoid the fragmentation. Up this high though, take whatever action the threat situation dictates. Press spacebar when you're ready to wrap up. Okay, we still have two CBU-97s loaded for use against armored targets, and we have some armor set up at steer point 2. Use the rocker switch on the ICP to select steer point 2. Then, depress the OSB adjacent to the stores code to select the CBU-97s. Use the same procedures as before to select CCRP submode and set the other options to your liking. Feel free to make the attack on your own. You may wish to experiment with different ways to approach the target or different attitudes at release. And when you're done, press escape to end the lesson. flashing to tell you the bombs have dropped. Release the weapon's release button. Use the F6 key to follow the bombs through their dispensing and impact if you wish. If you happen to be at low altitude at release, perform a safe escape maneuver to avoid the fragmentation. Up this high though, take whatever action the threat situation dictates. Press spacebar when you're ready to wrap up.